let's talk about crypto and let's talk about whether or not we're dead. Is the bull run over? Is it time to pack it up and see you again in multiple months? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about Ethereum. Real quick, this stream is in partnership with Delta. So shout out to the Delta team. If you use the link in the description, you will get 10% off your trading fees and you can get up to $30,000 in deposit bonuses by depositing money on the exchange. So if you got any questions about that, let me know. But shout out to the Delta team. Show them some love by using that link in the description to sign up. Let's get into the charts because they don't look good. We're getting these breakouts from all-time high that are not super fucking strong, right? You want that all-time high break to be like this. This is the guy that she tells you not to worry about. This all-time high break right here. You know, consolidate under all-time high and then parabolic price action. This is you. You break out of all-time high and then you just go right back below it and you start to look like 8. This is not obviously ideal price action in terms of, you know, what you want to see after an all-time high breakout. We obviously want to see continuation of the trend. We want to see strength. We want to see continued push to the upside. Personally, I'm not too concerned. I don't think the bull run is over or anything like that. I do think there's some solid levels of support below, but the question is, when do you want to start getting involved? When do you want to start buying the dip? Or what levels do you want to look at for kind of a reclaim of support and resistance to get back into your longs? Because basically, once we had this kind of failure, that was kind of your sign that we're probably going to have some downside. Our first area of interest looking to buy was this bullish order block. That's now failed. So now on the reverse side, this is going to come resistance. So this is going to be kind of our level that we need to clear to confirm that we're actually able to go back up to support and resistance, right? So we were trading up, we built a support level, we had a false breakout higher, and then we nuked the support level. Now this is resistance to me. What I'm going to do here, guys, is some top-down analysis on Bitcoin. We're going to start with a brand new, fresh and clean chart, and we are going to talk about some potential scenarios. What can we be looking for in terms of buy the dip areas, and what can we be looking for in terms of reclaims? Because those are the two scenarios that I'm interested in. I will lay out some short triggers. What would they look like? Where would I be looking to get involved in? So we want to look at some potential ideas for both directions. So we're going to start with the top-down analysis. You got to be aware of what's going on the high time frame. So we have a huge monthly swing failure pattern that's playing out right now. It looks very unlikely that the monthly is going to close back above this level right now. It looks kind of like shit. However, very obvious trade trigger. If you're a high time frame trader, this gives you a very clear trigger to get giga long. And yes, it's the monthly chart. So what does that mean? It means large ranges. If we are to close back above this level here, this 64829 on the Bitfinex monthly chart, if we are able to close this month's candle, which closes in 14 days, above that level, that would be a very easy high time frame trigger to be bullish on the Bitcoin. And there's going to be people being like, well, no duh, like we traded 10% up from here and you missed that. I don't care about that first 10%. If I'm analyzing this on the monthly, I don't care what price does for this first 8% because it can come all the way up here and then go down. But what I do care about is if it is able to close above here, that is a pretty clear trigger for bullishness. So I think that's a good level. If you're a high time frame trader, you're not really looking for intraday setups. You're like, hey, when is it, okay to be giga bull? On Bitcoin, again, I think a reclaim of the all-time high, that's a very clear bias level. Get back above there, monthly close above there, absolutely bullish. If we get something like this, let's assume for a second that this candle closes green or white, in my instance like this, above this level. Any dip that we get early in the month, in my opinion, would be us setting the monthly low. And then if we reclaim that level, there's your risk, there's your entry. Your target is $1 bazillion per Bitcoin. Or 70, 80K. I think that's a pretty clean setup if it plays out like that. Do I know if we're gonna close above here? I don't know. We still got 2 weeks, but that's a very clear high time frame setup that I think you could watch. On the weekly, the SFP is not valid. This SFP occurred, but here we've closed through. So that's actually potentially bullish on the weekly. One thing that I would be watching on this weekly candle is you have this move above all-time high and then the quick rejection. If we break market structure on the weekly here, so we get a weekly close below 57,606 on this exchange, any sort of pullback in here, in my opinion, is a sell. with your stop here and your target being like way the fuck down here, or like way the fuck here. And again, people are like, oh, that stop is so far. But the thing is, it's based on the weekly, right? So where are we targeting? We're targeting weekly levels. So yeah, the stop is 9%, but the target is over 20. So it's still you give you your 2R. So that's all that fucking matters. But that is a potential high time frame bearish setup that could be playing out on Bitcoin here. So something to watch. If we lose this weekly low, weekly close below here, I think you're selling pullbacks because I think that's a major trend shift. Weekly trend is still intact. We had an SFP here. There's your result. If we lose this weekly low, that's a major high time frame trend shift. I'm looking to sell pullbacks, and then maybe we put in a higher low, you know, something like down here. That would be something to watch, this weekly low. So far I've given you 2 key levels to watch, right? On the monthly, this is the all-time high level, a reclaim of that, pretty easy long. On the weekly, you really want to see us hold this 57,600 area. Don't want to see a close below there because that would shift the trend, right? Right now we have a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high. This is your higher low that led to this higher high. You do not want to see this low get cut because then we're in deeper pullback territory. It doesn't mean we can't do this, but you don't want to be holding Bitcoin for this entire down move if you don't have to. This low gets lost, sell pullbacks, look to buy into support. On the weekly, we do have a swing failure pattern here. So the exact same logic applies on the weekly that applies on the monthly. This is our weekly trading range right now. So a sweep of this level would be a long. A reclaim of this level would be a long. A breakdown below this level and any sort of pullback either up into here, or if it's not even that strong and it breaks down and it just comes here, is a short. So those are the kind of setups I'm looking for on the weekly. So that's your weekly trading range. For me to get bullish, right, a sweep of the low or a reclaim of the high, right, would be a long trigger on the weekly. Now, we do have this monthly level here. If we come up here, trade above here, but then go back down and don't close the monthly above here, I'm not interested in longs. Inherently, if we get above here and we close the monthly up here, I'm looking to long even before we get back above that weekly SFP level. I think there's a lot of very clear triggers on the high time frame, right? I mean, this obviously get above all-time high, fucking get bullish. I think this gives you a nice pre-level. If we can get that monthly close above here, I think you can confidently say that we're gonna go higher. If we get some sort of sweep of this level, I think you can confidently say we can go higher. The bearish case really to me is either a break of this low and then a pullback, or if this low holds but then we come up to here and then reject, then I would probably be looking for a short, you know, after we get a confirmation of a down move, right? Because this would put in a new swing low. We'd get a new swing low here. This comes up. If it rejects, now you have a closer level to short off of. So I know I just explained a lot of shit there, but hopefully it makes sense. It's only using 3 key levels so far to kind of frame your bias on the high time frame. Right now, the weekly trend is still intact. So keep that in mind. There's your kind of weekly bias level. Soon as we go below the weekly, the trend is starting to break down. So weekly trend still intact. Monthly key level is previous all-time high. Get above effectively 65K. Just long your longs in my opinion. Weekly, we do not want to see us lose 57,606 according to BitMEX. Once we start going to the lower time frames than this one, things are going to start looking a little bit uglier. Okay, so we're gonna go down to the 12-hour. We have our weekly, what is that? This is our weekly range. I'm so sorry. Okay, so everything I said about the weekly range remains the same, except for this is our weekly high, because this was a sweep. So that's your weekly low. This is our key weekly high here. The weekly range I'm watching is between 66,958 and 57,606. That is your weekly trading range, which is a bullish range for now. So now we're going down to the lower time frame here. So we have our weekly trading range here. We have that key monthly level here, and you can see the 12-hour as well as like the daily. We're starting to break market structure and not in a good way. On the lower time frames, the daily time frame, what's happening? We're starting to lose key market structure levels. So however you want to slice it, whether it's this low or this low being your kind of market structure level, we're in the process of making a lower low. I mean, we've definitely broken market structure here, and we broke the low there as well. Daily market structure has shifted to the downside. Same with the 12-hour, right? The 12-hour is going to shift even sooner. There's your 12-hour low. Here's another 12-hour low that's been broken. We're starting to see some weakness on the lower time frames. The weekly time frame, I think, is the one we want to watch in terms of us holding that key weekly low. I think as long as we're closing above there on the weekly, we're okay. If we lose that low on the weekly, I think things get uglier and we start trading down into kind of this 52 area. So the next level that I want to mark out is actually from the 3-day chart, being this one right here. So to me, weekly range is intact. This is our playground for now between here and here. Let's see what happens. But if we lose this low, I think we probably see an acceleration down to this level. Right now, the trend on the lower time frames is starting to shift to the downside. So that could be leading, right? If we're seeing the 12-hour and the daily start breaking market structure to the downside, that could be a clue that soon the weekly is going to shift down to the downside as well. So we have to be aware of that. Looking at the 12-hour, we've now run this low and this low. This is that weekly low. We could come down here, get a sweep and be a long, or we could rally from here. So the two scenarios that I'm watching based on the 12-hour chart are, this is the low for now. We've made a low into here. Okay, you could argue that it's this order block as well. It's up to you. We've wicked through it, but we're holding it. This is the one I posted on Twitter. So we've wicked below, but we're holding this order block, and we'll see some sort of rally up into the bearish order block that caused this down move, right? So the trend has shifted. We broke market structure. So now we're looking to sell pullback. So I think up into about here, call it like 62 to 63K. This is the point of the breakdown. This is your bearish order block. All of these candles together are a bearish order block. Could go to the 3-day, right? Here's the 3-day bearish order block right here. Or it's multiple 12-hour candles. I'm just visualizing it. Instead of saying, oh, it's the 3-day candle, I can just eyeball it and say, okay, this is a bearish order block here. I do think if this low holds here, after running this, we get something like this. And this is probably a sell, to be honest with you. I think this is probably a sell, at least into here. And then if we sweep this and get back above, it's a long. If we do not get back above, get a bounce and then go back, boom. I'm targeting down into here. But I do think that either from here, we get a retest of here, or we get one more leg down, and then we probably get a retest of here. But I think either scenario, at least on the H12, you're looking to sell between 62.5 and like 64. I think you're looking for weakness in here, and you're looking for reasons to potentially short Bitcoin up in this area. I don't really know what's going to happen for sure. I do think that this level is kind of no man's land. So I tried bidding this yesterday. So I was bidding here, and we basically got no reaction here. I averaged down, and now we're just kind of farting around here. So I don't love it. I would much rather, if I'm interested in getting in along with some sort of size, is look where that monthly level coincides, right within this order block. So if we're able to get here and start putting in bullish PA above effectively 65K, I think that is a good place to start adding size, or a sweep of this key low. Out of all of these lows that we've run, this is the most important one, because this is the one that holds weekly market structure intact. So if that low gets swept, so we come down and then we SFP it, essentially sweep it, or we break down but then reclaim it quickly, that is a low I'm much more interested in getting long in with size. We've seen like $1 billion, close to like 800, 900 million in liquidations so far. So it's a lot, but we haven't really seen like a true liquidation cascade. This has been pretty fucking controlled selling this entire way down by some guy on Binance, and then there's been some consistent dip buying by people on like Bybit. So derivatives are buying the dip, spot is selling on the way down, derivatives are buying the dip, spot is shorting. Usually that's not a recipe for a reversal. Usually what you want to see is spot stop selling, derivatives get blown the fuck out, and then you get those, you know, kind of V bottom reversals. And that usually happens when you get a big capitulation event, right? Little liquidation cascade, and then the buyers are blown out. Then you get that V, and then you get one of these things, and then it starts to go back up, right? We haven't really had that liquidation cascade, even though quite a lot of people have been liquidated. So maybe that's what happens, right? Maybe we get that one more leg down, we get that liquidation cascade. There is absolutely going to be stops sitting at the bottom of this range. Think about it. Everyone who's been longing basically since, you know, the end of October, if you're looking at the high time frame, this is where your stops are resting. Absolutely has liquidation cascade potential here. So we will see what happens here. It's still early in the week. So, you know, is the low of the week in, or are we going to see one more rip down? We'll see. But those are kind of the scenarios I'm looking for on Bitcoin. Either a move from here, and then I'll probably look to at least hedge or short this, or a move below here, and I don't know, maybe a liquidation cascade propels it all the way down here, but a sweep of this level I think is a buy, or a move down into this level I think is a buy. Either way, I'm looking to buy the blood for at least some sort of mean reversion, right? If we get some sort of quick move down here, you're at least getting a bounce up into here, even if it's going to go down further. And you know, that's a really nice bounce opportunity. Same idea here, right? If we get a sweep of this level that's quick and then a reclaim, you probably get a pretty solid bounce after that, at least up into some resistance. So those are the two situations I'm looking for kind of on Bitcoin right now. Eventually, I think we get a move towards 62, 63. And if we do, I'm looking to short that, get above 65. You know, all hands on deck, uber bullish, and then those are the long scenarios. Okay, so let's talk about Ethereum. Very similar to Bitcoin, we have a super clear high time frame level that would give you, you know, kind of a very easy bias to get long on again, right? If we're able to get back above 43.70, I think it's long anything on Ethereum. I think that's a pretty easy bias level on the high time frame. Monthly trend is obviously still up. We do have this, you know, kind of swing failure pattern happening here on the monthly, so you do have to be aware of that, but the exact same logic kind of goes for Bitcoin. If we're able to reclaim that level, I do think it's quite bullish. Going down to the weekly on Ethereum is a little bit trickier because you don't really have a clear swing low to determine your weekly bias. Like if you look at Bitcoin, right, we've got that nice weekly swing low to be like, okay, the weekly higher low is here. So the next weekly higher low is way the fuck down here. And that's a long way that this can drop and still be a higher low, right? Like if I just put my fib here, you could have a higher low way down here in the 50 to 48 region. I mean, I'm buying here, right? I'm buying here if it happens. Absolutely. You got an order block here. Perfect swing there. But we do have this nice little higher low here right at the 382 for a potentially shallower pullback. I think everyone would prefer this in terms of if you own altcoins and you own Bitcoin, you don't want to give money back to the market. But I do think that, you know, this is a great buying opportunity if it does happen, is that very deep pullback, right? But who knows? We'll see. Anyways, back to Ethereum. I got distracted. Ethereum doesn't have that same clean low because we've had this crazy kind of channel that's been going on for like almost 2 months where it's just been, you know, straight up easy mode on Ethereum, right? You've just had this infinitely long, you know, kind of just almost S&P 500 like channel, and that's finally broken down. So I do think you want to be aware of, you know, just how many stops are resting here, because people have basically been longing Ethereum for 2 months with zero repercussions, right? You long here, stop here, untouched, right? Long here, stop here, untouched. Long here, right? Stop here, untouched. Same over and over and over again until finally we've had a breakdown. So something to pay attention to for sure. So we don't have that weekly low until way the fuck down here. So way down here is the weekly market structure level, which is unusable in my opinion. So the level that I see of interest here is right here. I mean, I would almost just put this as 4K. This seems like a very good level to buy the dip if given on Ethereum. If we get some sort of move down here, some sort of wick, right, and a reclaim, I think that is a very good level to potentially look for a sweep to buy. That's kind of your equivalent to the 57 level on Bitcoin, is that 4,000 level on Ethereum. Looking down at the lower time frames here, we have, like I said, broken that never-ending trend, right? We've had this kind of trend forever, finally broke down, broke your key lows here. Like if this is your swing low, market structure is broken. This is the swing low you're looking at, market structure has broken. So just like Bitcoin, I think on Ethereum here, any sort of move up here in the short term, back up into like here, I think is a short down into here. Maybe we come higher, maybe we come all the way up here, but I think for now, the first pullback, right, we just broke a key low, first pullback, and whether that pullback happens from here or it happens after this move, I think the move up here is a short on Ethereum. If we can close the monthly candle back above here, I think that's a pretty good sign to start looking for longs again, because if we get kind of this action, right, and the monthly candle closes up here, this kind of becomes a deviation, and I think there's your risk, you know, long it to a new high. But for now, I think if we get some sort of pullback here, right, back into this, back into that SR level, I think is probably a short down towards 4K. Some sort of sweep of the 4K level or anything like that, right? Sweep and a reclaim, whatever, is probably a long, at least back up into there. That's kind of my thoughts for Ethereum. That's the key level that I would want to see us reclaim, to be like, okay, close the monthly above there. That would negate the SFP here on the monthly, and I think would be a pretty safe bet that, you know, there's a good chance we go and hit that 5K and beyond level. But we're gonna have to wait and see. This 4K level I like as a potential area of support, but if the whole market nukes, right? Like if Bitcoin wants to go to 52, let's just say, if Bitcoin wants to go to 52, there's a lot of untouched stops down here. Things can get ugly real quick on Ethereum. So definitely be aware. We still have that kind of ugly deviation above all-time high. So how do we invalidate this? Well, we reclaim that level. We got to reclaim that level to start looking, you know, very bullish again. But for now, I'm watching. I'm not in a position on Ethereum. I hope it bounces from here. You know, we've got some kind of support coming in here. But if it goes to 4K first, I would not be surprised. And you'll be prepared because now you have a plan. Yeah, someone is just fucking selling the living shit out of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Every single move. Like, this is not a bottom. This is not how a bottom forms, right? Like, this looks like it's going to just accelerate to the downside, and fucking Ethereum looks like the same. Like, this looks so bad. This is effectively like your RSI here. Problem with these types of indicators, right, is everyone's like, okay, well, like RSI is oversold, right? This thing can go all the way fucking down to here, and this will still be curling up, right? It means we are gonna bounce soon, right? But this thing can stay oversold way longer than you can fucking stay solvent. Doesn't look good. The selling is just relentless. Like, anytime buyers have showed up here, the selling's just accelerated on the next leg. No one can absorb how much this person is selling, or if it's one player or if it's more than one, I don't know. But it's non-stop TWAP selling and claiming longs on Bitfinex, according to my friend who's watching the books right now. He says they're just consistently selling. TWAP means it's automated, right? Just in chunks, boom, 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 boom. And then they're claiming longs, and no one is really stepping in to bid. So chances of this just nuking pretty high. I definitely think you want to be careful with altcoins, right? This is a new daily here, but if you go to alts, Bitcoin dropped yesterday, right? Bitcoin dropped 7%. And a lot of these alts are gonna drop even more. Almost 10% on Solana, Sushi, 12% top to bottom. So the sensitivity of altcoins right now to Bitcoin's price movement is quite high. Meaning if Bitcoin's gonna fucking dip, right? Like, this looks like weak as fuck. If Bitcoin's gonna drop another 5 points or whatever, Bitcoin's gonna run this low, another 5+%, and maybe even lower, right? 5 to 10% down, alts are gonna take a whack. So you wanna be careful, I think, in alts right now. Very few of them are outperforming. And how can you tell? Go look at your altcoin and compare it to Bitcoin. So if you're looking at Sol, this is looking like, okay, well, maybe this is gonna roll. If this goes down, if Bitcoin drops, Sol is gonna drop more. Where the opposite is happening on AVAX, for example, right? Whereas, you know, this looks much stronger than a lot of other alts, and that's because this chart looks much stronger. So if Bitcoin drops, but this is doing this still, this might go down in terms of USD, but it's gonna go down less. And I did a video on this. You can go watch it. It's in my altcoin series. Miami, Mayne. That's kind of got a nice little ring to it, you know what I mean? Miami, Mayne. We unfortunately have been dealing with a little bit of all-time high erectile dysfunction. If it doesn't work, you know, you can blame me. So fresh and so clean, just like my dance moves. Here, buddy, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm just gonna remove you from the chat because I don't want to see your messages anymore because you sound like a fucking dickhead. Fuck you, it's my stream, I'll do what I want. Maybe I won't talk about Bitcoin at all. Maybe I'll just fucking chat shit for 2 hours. So shut the fuck up. Get off my nuts, bro. Anyways. One thing that I get shit on for, specifically by Crypto Cred, because he's kind of a dick. I love him, but he does bully me. Even though I'm much older than him, we have like a brother type of relationship, except for even though I'm like almost a decade older than him, he seems to be like the older brother. I'm not sure how the fuck I allowed that to happen. We started off the stream with a fucking banger. This video is gonna be demonetized because I played that song, but like, the vibes were immaculate. I was fucking feeling it. That guy talks shit. I shit on him immediately. It feels good. That's enough chat for now. Let's get to how's chemo going. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you. I think it's important to pray every night no matter what. Do we trust Vitalik? He's also Canadian. What the fuck is up, Cal? Come here, I'll give you a big hug. Don't creep me out like that, bro. Don't hit on me. Sorry. Hold on, everyone calm down. All of you calm down. The aesthetic is all off. Now, we call those lines, those are Brokeback Mountain lines. Those Brokeback Mountain lines. He told us it was gonna be a big week, and it hasn't. His brain is just much more developed than mine. I'm a little bit slow to the pickup, as they say. Who they is, I don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god, don't let Cred see that. Don't let him see that. Hi, Timeframe. Don't let him see that, please. It's definitely not your fault that you lost money. It's gotta be someone's fault. It's not yours, so it's gotta be mine. No shit, Sherlock.